We are gathered here today to talk about Mr. Complicated, and that is Mr. Quinn Ewers, about his NFL draft stock, what I'm thinking, how I feel, all of those different things. And so I'm actually excited to make this video and talk through my complicated feelings when it comes to Quinn Ewers, mainly because there's so many things about him that I understand the appeal. He was at the University of Texas for 3 years. He came to the University of Texas. We were 5-7. We were 8-4. We were 11-1. We won the Big 12. We moved to the SEC. He did the job. He did all the things, right? So when you're looking at Quinn Ewers, I am calling him the most complicated because there's a lot of different factors and a lot of different variables here with Ewers that I think makes him an interesting draft pick because you don't really know what you're going to get. His ceiling seems to be very, very high. His release looks easy. His things about him just look easy. And then there's things about him where you're like, what the F was that? I think we can all sit back and think of a couple, if not a few, if not 5 to 10 really great moments where you saw a pass from Ewers and you were like, oh my gosh, what a beautiful throw. What a beautiful pass. What beautiful touch on the ball. What beautiful audible at the line of scrimmage. Oh my gosh, that was fantastic. I think we can all remember those moments where we might have thought Ewers is going to have this thing all figured out. But at the same time, we also have those moments where we can think of the things that he didn't do that we were like, why didn't he do this? Why didn't he just step up? Why didn't he see it? Why didn't he see the guy, right? So Quinn Ewers, in my opinion, is one of the most complicated people because I don't know what his draft stock really is. He is my Mr. Complicated. I'm not sure where to put him. However, he is on my list of 8. So I am going to figure out and talk through some things when it comes to Quinn Ewers on the other side of this, and let's see where I land by the time this video is over. As we all know, there is 5 ways that I am going to look at everybody that I'm talking about. First thing is going to be combine. How did you look at the combine? What do I think about your combine numbers? Second thing is going to be your pro day. What does it look like? How did your pro day go? What do I think? What do I feel? Things like that. The third is going to be your competition. Who did you play against and how did you fare against that competition? The fourth thing is going to be team need and your statistics. What I think teams need and what your statistics look like and how I feel like those things bridge together. And maybe the fifth thing, the most important thing that I'm going to use to make my decision is my eye test. How did I feel when I was watching you? What did I think as you've gone through this process? How do I feel now that the season is a little bit far removed and now you're stepping up to play in the NFL? I am going to trust my eye test. I'm going to trust how I feel. I'm going to trust what I think. And that is just how I'm going to make these decisions. So without further ado, let me go ahead and talk about Quinn Ewers. And first up is his combine. Let's talk about his combine numbers. Quinn Ewers did everything I expected him to do. And so his measurables, I'll put his measurables up on the screen, are exactly how I thought they would be. I will be honest, I was kind of shocked that he measured where he did at being 6'2", which probably means he's closer to 6'3" than I thought. But what he did at the combine, right, is he did his measurables. He didn't run or do any of this other stuff. But then he did the throwing and he made all the throws. And that is what makes him complicated. Because I knew as soon as he started throwing the football, I knew what the commentators were going to say. Now, yes, Coach Sark was in the booth, but I don't think they cared that Coach Sark was there because the truth is Quinn Ewers looks good throwing the football. Quinn Ewers throws a pretty football, and because he throws a pretty football and when he's in rhythm and when it looks good and when he's, dare I say, going against air, there's not much that you can say bad about him. He looks good. He looks like a natural born thrower, and that's what you want for a quarterback. He's not fighting the throw. He looks like he was in rhythm. He looked calm. He looked like he knew it was going on. He does all the things. That is what makes Quinn Ewers complicated. Some people just go to the extremes and say he's fantastic or he sucks. I think it's kind of somewhere in the middle. And honestly, when I get to his numbers, I think his numbers are going to say that as well. He's just kind of in the middle, but he looks good. And he's one of those people that he will look good. And then you'll look at the stats and then you'll look at the game film and you're going to start thinking like, what is going on? Who is this guy? Do I want him on my team? Should I have him on my team? Quinn Ewers is complicated. If you like the content you're getting, don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to leave me a comment. Don't forget to turn on those notification bells and do all the YouTube things. Quinn Ewers doing what Quinn Ewers does is absolutely amazing. I love that for me. I love that for him. And he just is who he is. Quinn Ewers staying true to being Mr. Complicated is what I love to see. The one thing about Quinn is if you think you can develop him, then you go get him. That is all I can say about him because he's going to look good against air. He's going to look good at practice. He studies. He's smart. He does all the things. So at this point, it's just going to be about somebody taking taking a chance. Quinn Ewers is my Mr. Complicated for a reason, and the way that he showed up at Pro Day shows me exactly why he's my Mr. Complicated and shows me why I think of him the way I think of him. And anybody that gets him is going to be very excited at first, and then it's going to take a little bit of time. In 2 to 3 years of Quinn Ewers as a starting quarterback in the NFL, I would not be surprised. The one thing about Ewers that is also complicated and interesting is the competition he played against. We all saw him play against Michigan. And as a Texas fan, I was like, okay, we're going to do what we need to do this season. This is going to be great because he looked great against Michigan. Then he gets hurt, and then he plays Georgia. And then, let's be honest, we were all watching Georgia. I'm saying all as if all college football fans are probably watching Georgia and being like, golly, man, he looks terrible. Now, if you look at how he played, you're like, yeah, he looked terrible. That offensive line was also getting beat up. We didn't have a run game. Georgia out-physicaled us. And so is it all Quinn Ewers' fault? Well, 50%. But what does that mean for him as a player, right? So then you go through the season. Again, nobody really knowing exactly what was wrong with his injury. Nobody leaked it. So there's that. And then Quinn Ewers is winning football games, but then there's other times where you're like, he's winning the game, but then he's kind of costing his team a game. And who is this guy? And so he's complicated. Quinn Ewers is a complicated quarterback because he's inconsistent. And when you're inconsistent, it makes you complicated. And when you're inconsistent, it makes people not really be sure of what to do with you because we don't know where you fit. And so when it comes to competition, he played tough competition. He was in the SEC. Listen, he led his team to the SEC championship game. And I'm going to be honest with you. The reason why Texas lost in the SEC championship was not because of Quinn Ewers. It wasn't because Quinn Ewers played bad. So I don't know. That's just what it is. Like, that's who Ewers is. And that is why he's Mr. Complicated. So let's look at his career stats. So when I look at his career stats, look at 2022 to 2023. Arguably, people will say in 2023 he had a much better offense. But if you look at his 2023 numbers compared to his 2024 numbers, something isn't matching. Something doesn't make sense. Quinn Ewers is the example of what I tell people, that you can look at stats, you can look at film, you can look at your eye test, you can look at competition, you can look at all of these measurables. And the truth is, you don't really know what you're going to get from a player until you see him in the game. You don't really know what you're going to get from Quinn Ewers until you talk to him, until he's in your building, until he's on your team. And so you don't know. It wouldn't be surprised to me if a team reached for Ewers because they don't know what they're going to get with him. And honestly, as a Texas fan, I think if we were honest with ourselves, we would say there were games with us where we didn't know what we were going to get with Quinn either. The other thing about Ewers, and like I say, let's look at his 2024 season stats. He had 3,400 passing yards, 31 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 75.4 QBR. And listen, Shedeur Sanders was ranked 20th and Quinn Ewers is ranked 21st behind him. Shedeur Sanders didn't play against as good as competition as Quinn Ewers played. That's just a fact. And so again, it makes this complicated. The other thing about Ewers is, I will say this, is we all know what 4 teams need top quarterbacks. I'm not going to talk about where I think he's going to go in the draft right here in this section, but I think Quinn Ewers is going to be a phenomenal NFL backup. I think Quinn Ewers at a good organization being a backup is amazing. So if you look at competition, check. If you look at how he did in the combine, check. If you look at how he led his team, check. If you look at how his teammates love him, check. All of those things. You will give him a ton of check marks, and that is why he's complicated. Quinn Ewers is the most complicated person I have on my list, and I don't know what teams are going to do with Quinn Ewers, and so I don't know. I just don't know, but he's on my list, and he did some really great things for Texas. He led Texas back to being relevant. So where does that measure? How does that fit in? Because he has flaws, and there's things that he needs to work on. And so it's like, is he worth the risk? Do you take the chance and hope that he can improve on those things? Or is he just always going to be that way? Nobody really knows. He's complicated. So honestly, based on my eye test, I don't know where I want to put Quinn Ewers. I don't know what he's going to do. Some days I wake up and I'm like, I'm going to say he's going to go on day 1. Then other days I wake up and I'm like, he's going day 2. I don't know what Quinn Ewers is going to do. What I do know, based on my eye test, is that he is going to do some great things, and he's going to do some things that are going to absolutely frustrate a fan base. That is who he is. is. The good thing about him is that he is young and he has time to still develop a lot of skills. So is Quinn Ewers played 3 years of college football. He came out early. My eye test is telling me he has something there. I just don't know what he has. And so I don't know what to do. If you were going to ask me to pick where I think Quinn Ewers would go, I think Quinn Ewers is going to go day 2. And I think if he goes to a great organization that has a great offensive line, that has a great teacher in that organization, I think Ewers is going to be fine. Now, would I be shocked if he went day 1? No, but I don't think he's going to go day 1, but I wouldn't be shocked if that makes sense.